Okay, so now that you're finished with your mind map, I went ahead and actually pulled a few of the Post-it notes that were some of my favorite standout ones, things that I want to incorporate in my business for sure. And I laid them out here on the table. You can see them. This is wall calendar. This is sort of top level. And then going into some of the major items that this thing is going to have, what features, things like that, and then also some other standouts. Obviously, I had a lot more Post-it notes than this, but I threw away a lot of them. Some didn't make sense to me afterwards, and a lot of them just weren't things that I wanted to work on. So here's kind of what I'm left with, and this is what I'm going to use for our next exercise, which is something called the one page, one paragraph, one sentence exercise. This is where you are literally going to be doing those things. Writing an entire page. We have those available for you in the worksheets in the download section. Writing a page that incorporates a lot of these things that you have here in your leftover Post-it notes. This is the direction you want to go, and as you begin to write, it begins to sort of formulate itself into what it will become, who you serve, and those are the kinds of things you're going to be writing about. I'll give you a prompt in just a second. And then you're going to be taking that page and really filtering it down into just one single paragraph. It's a little bit challenging because you're going to want to pull out the most major points, and by doing so, you're starting to get into really what the hook is, and that's the whole purpose of this. The one sentence that you have at the end is going to be your hook, the thing that you say when you share this with somebody. If somebody were to ask you, hey, what is this thing you're working on? That's what you say, and you're able to say it short and sweet so that a person will completely understand what it is that you have to offer. And like I said earlier, if you can't organize this stuff and you can't plan it and you can't describe it, it's going to be really difficult for somebody to truly understand, which is, again, the whole purpose of this. This is a very fun exercise. When I've run through this exercise with a number of people, they tell me this is one of the most helpful things, especially for those who already have a business and they're struggling because they don't know what their clear message is. This is really helpful. For you to do this now, it's going to be even better. So I'm going to do it for you. I actually have an example, and I'll share with you my page, my paragraph, and sentence with you. I'm not going to share that with you right now, but you'll be able to read that and see how I progress from one page to one paragraph to one sentence. But here's the structure for you for what that sentence will become. This is sort of the formula that I want you to think of your one sentence, what you're going to end up with, because typically that's the hardest part of this whole situation. It's easy to write a page about this stuff. It's kind of just brainstorming, free flow. Narrowing it down to a paragraph, a little bit more difficult, but still you're able to pull the best parts out. And then finally the sentence, that's where people struggle the most. What's the one sentence you can say? You might have heard of something called your elevator pitch. It's kind of similar to that, but here's the structure for it. I'm creating a blank for blank so that blank. Now those blanks are really important. Obviously you'd fill in those blanks, but I'm creating and then whatever your thing is, a wall calendar, but you might even want to be a little bit more descriptive than that. A 6-month rolling wall calendar, for example, for blank, and that's your target audience, your niche. And that for is really important. That'll help you narrow down where you reach out to, and of course you already know an idea of who it is that you're serving. So I'm creating a 6-month rolling wall calendar for entrepreneurs, or I'm still kind of in my head deciding where I want to go with that, but it could be for business owners, so that it really narrows down who is it for, and then also will help determine what it looks like and how it's marketed. But let's say I go with that. Again, I'm going to be going through my one page, one paragraph, one sentence myself later, so that might change, but I'm kind of just riffing with you right now. So I'm creating a 6-month rolling wall calendar, rolling meaning that months as they go by, new ones will pop in, for entrepreneurs so that they will always be on top of all the different projects that they are juggling and have time for themselves and their personal life too. Again, that's really important because that's the benefit. That's the so that part. It's one of the easiest things to do to try to understand the benefit of something. So take any product. If you put a so that next to it, you're going to begin to understand why that product exists and why was it created for that particular audience. So the so that sort of test is a great one to understand. Now, I want you to do that and spend some time doing it. Take as long as you like. Your page, like I said, is going to be very easy, and if you want to take a break between the page and the paragraph and the sentence, that's fine. If you're struggling, feel free to ask for help in the Facebook group. Sometimes it just takes a couple people to share a few things to really point you in the right direction. But here's another tip that can work for you. If you are struggling with your sentence, just your sentence, what I want you to do is read your paragraph that you created, or even your page if you want. to anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody in your target audience. It could just be anybody. Read that to them and ask them to say back to you what it is that you just shared in one sentence. That way, I mean, they're going to struggle with that too, but since it's coming from an outside perspective, they're going to more likely be able to give you some keywords and the things that stood out to you or to them in that paragraph so that you can then put them into your particular sentence there. So I'm creating a blank for blank so that blank. We're doing great work here. I know it might be overwhelming for some of you, but we're taking it one step at a time, one iteration after another. And as a reminder, this whole course, there are checkpoints every step of the way so that you can consider the work that you've just done, whether or not you should keep moving forward with it. But again, at this point, you have yet to truly make that decision that this is something you want to move forward with. Some of you, maybe you just know deep down that this is where you want to go. For some of you, you're still in the exploration phase. So if you're not completely decided yet, that's okay. This is exactly where you're supposed to be. You're going to keep going through this exercise, and once you start collecting more feedback, that is really, truly what's going to validate whether this is something that you should keep moving forward with or not. But what I do know is that you need to do your exercises now. So write your page, your paragraph, and your sentence. Get help if needed. And once you're done with that, click the button below, and that'll open up the next section for you, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks.